Welcome everybody to another episode of Wipe Like a Pro. This is episode 8, and Derek Smith and myself, Rob Smucker, are really excited to have Jason Clarrey from Kansas. He is a YouTuber that has some amazing content on his channel. We are super excited to watch this video that he made where he put a weed wiper on his skid steer and did some amazing work in Johnson grass. So Jason, welcome this morning. Really happy to have you here. Jason, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and how you got started doing YouTube channel.
Well, I'm 49 years old. I've been running equipment since I was about 13 years old. I've always had a passion of kind of building stuff. I've always worked on stuff. I've been a mechanic most of my life, just working on everything I have. So if there's something out there that somebody doesn't make, I try to figure out a way to kind of make it work for my needs. So I end up making a lot of my own attachments and stuff like that. And honestly, it's going to be a weird story how I started YouTube, but I always like watching YouTube instead of normal television. And I love Andrew Camarada, which he just inspired me to start a YouTube channel, and here we are. Now we do work with, we do some trial stuff with Dan user attachments. You guys, we're using some of your guys' products. I'm kind of big with Yanmar excavators. They actually know who I am, which I'm not quite sure how that happens. Anyways, John Deere does quite a bit with me, so our dealer support's awesome. But that's kind of a little bit about me. We're right in the middle of Kansas City, kind of out in the sticks. We do a lot of the stuff that other companies don't want to do. We do steep area mowing, big, like the weed wiper. A lot of people call me like, how in the heck can I get rid of 30 acres of solid Johnson grass that looks like a cornfield? I don't know. Let me figure it out. So this is where we're at.
Right. Well, up until this point, you did a lot of brush hogging to cut down the Johnson grass. Huh?
Yeah, and they didn't want to do anything to try to get rid of it because spraying a claim or something like that, you have to spray it early on in the year. You have to spray it before you see it. Otherwise, you're spending a lot of money, and a claim is incredibly expensive. It's not as cheap as glyphosate. I think on that job where I just did kind of that test strip, I might have used 5 gallons of material, maybe, right. And I probably wetted a little heavy. It was dead in 5 days. I showed up in 5 days, wow. And I was amazed. I was like, there's no way. I kind of thought that if I could get at least 50% of that, I was trying to be realistic because of how it was 6 and 7 foot tall, super thick, and I thought surely I'm not going to coat all of the vegetation. I'm not going to get material on all of it, laying it over like that. And I'd give it a 98.8 or something % kill rate. I mean, I'd say it's 100% dead. So I was pretty impressed. I was happy.
That is awesome, Jason. There's no question in my mind. You know how to wipe like a pro. I'm excited to watch this video with you guys. So watch it all the way to the end. You're going to see some really good before and after shots. In fact, you're going to see right where he didn't wipe and where he did wipe. And it's very clear the amount of kill that you got. Even the underbrush on the underneath where all the Johnson grass was, all that grass that was left alive, which is your goal. Yeah. So we're really grateful for that. Stay tuned. Watch this great video that Jason's put together. Thanks so much, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
Yep. Thank you, guys. feel like I'm about 30 seconds off. I'm about 10 seconds on or more, but that's because my pump is short cycling. I can see, I mean, there's moisture on the Johnson grass. Obviously, this is an insane way to start and try to do anything. I do know this property pretty well, so I feel like I'm safe enough, but you can see how much Johnson grass we have. It is basically Johnson grass. I don't know if when this dies, we might not have anything on the ground. And maybe I'm wetting my sponges a little too much, but I feel like it's deserved because there is a lot of Johnson grass in here. I can already tell you I would love this on the tractor. Probably not in here, but I would love this on the tractor. I'm not in love with it on the skid loader, but for extreme instances like this, and this one's not bad. I probably could have done this with the tractor, but there is a heavy slope here. I was going to see how close I could get to the slope, stuff like that. But I'm wet. You guys probably won't be able to see it, but I'm wet on the Johnson grass. I'm using MSO for surfactant. He said that you need a surfactant with it, so I'm using MSO. They were actually going to send me some stuff, and I didn't get it. Maybe they forgot, or is the material still wet? Yes. Or maybe it's still in the mail type of thing. I don't know. I just happened to get these, as you guys saw. I got them over the weekend. I got them Saturday. But I'm really not using that much material. I was scared, so I mixed up 15 gallons. We're gonna see what I've got left after we're done. Let me get down. Step would be awesome. How much do we have? Well, that can't be. We're on a hill. Hang on. We'll have to... we've used half the product, maybe. Which, that's not a lot. I'll be back in a couple weeks, or about 10 days. We'll see what kind of kill-off we got, and then we'll rate it then. We'll see if this is a viable option to kill some weeds. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Okay. Don't yell at me because I don't have my seatbelt on. I just took it off. I'm driving over here. I'm going to show you guys where we wiped the Johnson grass at. It wasn't even a week ago. And I just happened to be in the neighborhood, so I drove down here thinking that, you know, maybe the tops would be a little brown or something. Holy cow. It has not even been a week. Holy cow. Holy cow. Holy cow. Are you kidding me? Wow. I'm not, if I'm lying, I'm dying. I'm gonna have to go back and see when I wiped this. So I wiped it. It took me at least a couple days to get the video done and all that, but I got the video out fairly soon. Probably maybe 2 days or so, and I'll try to post this tonight. But look at this stuff. I mean, look how tall it is. I'm like 5'7". Look how tall this is. I mean, it's a foot over my head. And almost all of it is a foot over my head. I mean, where I didn't lay it down. You know, there's my truck over there. This stuff's tall. Holy cow, guys. Holy cow. Wow. Thoroughly impressed. Thoroughly impressed. I am impressed. I don't even know what to say. I wish I wiped more, I guess. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This is truly unbelievable. Well, okay, so if you're in the market for a weed wiper, I can honestly say, without a doubt, 110%, I would suggest for you to go to Smucker Manufacturing and buy any kind of weed wiper that fits your application. I was scared that the sponge thing wasn't going to work. You know, I talked to one guy and he said, oh, you have to have this roller that spins backwards and it wipes the weeds. And I was like, yeah, I get that. I get that. I'm sure nobody's going to drive back here and get my truck. I left my truck running. That's why I keep looking up there. Let's walk through the jungle. Don't let me fall into the deal. But see how thick this stuff is and how green it is. So, you know, when I'm laying it down like this and wiping it, obviously I didn't think I could get all of it. I honestly thought that if I got at least 50%, I would be really happy about this job. If I got 50%, I would be super surprised. Okay? But you tell me. You tell me. Less than a week that I wiped this. Less than a week. And I bet you I'd put 95% on this job. If not 100%. I would put 95% a kill off on this job. It's a little thinner over here, look. There's the proof. And you can see where I wiped and where I didn't wipe. It's not like it's going dormant and dying. I didn't wipe that. I wiped this. Watch the video. This is I mean, you can see my tracks. There's where my tracks are. I got a 15-foot boom, so I'm 5 foot off my boom, and then it turns green. I know this is going to be a 6-minute video or something with me saying, oh my God, look at this, but there you go. Smucker Manufacturing. Go to Smucker. I'll put it in the description. I think it's smucker.net, or maybe it's smuckermanufacturing.net. But I'll put the link in the description. Google super sponge, and you ought to find it. But it's Smucker. I would say smucker.net or smucker.com. They're probably going to kill me because I don't remember what it was. That's unbelievable. And this is, I mean, I wiped all this. I wiped into there. I wiped kind of around there to try to get this buffered back. Wow. Wow. Unbelievable. Now I can come by and brush hog it. All right, guys. It's the end of the day, but I did go back and check on that kill rate, or the timing of when I wiped the weeds. I wiped those weeds 5 days ago, and they were totally dead. There were a couple that had a little bit of green left in the stem. Not very much. Fully impressed. Next time I do it, sorry, camera's low light. Action cameras don't like, you know, no light around. It's the end of the day. I'm going inside. We're gonna get this video going and get this video up, and it'll be up tomorrow. But I know I've said it before. I've never had that kind of result doing anything, and I was actually pretty skeptical about using those weed wipers just because they're sponges with the spray nozzles in it. But I'm sold. I'll sell the service. I know it's going to work. Go to Smucker and get yourself a kit. Get yourself a boom kit. You can do a build your own kit. You can get one to put right on with a pump and everything. I'd suggest them 100%. See you guys.